Wow, it's been a while since I've done this. Hey, how's it going? It's Jake here. Hope you guys are having a great day out there today. It's been a while since I've sat down and made a video. I think honestly the last thing I did was the live stream breakdown for my short film. And by the way, if you took the time to watch my short film or commented on it or whatever, thank you so much. I think it only has about 80 something views right now, but the fact that people took the time to watch it really means a lot to me, because that's kind of my dream. It's where my heart is. It's where my passion is. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch that short film. It really means a lot to me. But the whole reason why we're here, we have movies to talk about, which is a really weird thing to say in this time, because theaters have been closed for about 3 months now, but somehow I'm behind on movies, and so we have movies to talk about. We're going to be doing another episode of Playing Ketchup. The last one I did was like late February, early March, and it was just me talking about some of the movies that I saw later or kind of missed the window to do a review for them. So they were shorter, quicker, not as in-depth reviews, and the same thing goes for this one. I'm going to be talking about 4 movies, not as in-depth, just kind of give them my quick thoughts, give them my quick rating, and then moving on to the next one. So without any further ado, let's jump into the first film, which is The Lovebirds, starring Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae. I was really excited to see this film, and the trailers were actually really appealing to me. I thought they were really funny. I'm a huge fan of both Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae. And the first thing about this film, their chemistry is fantastic together. They get along so well, and they go along so well that it feels like throughout the film that they're just like riffing for a whole hour and a half, just giving off jokes and just spitballing. And it's a really fun dynamic when you have two people that are as funny as they are and can have that dynamic with each other, that they just get along really well. And so it makes the viewing experience very pleasant when you have two people that get along really well and work together perfectly. This film was just really, really funny, and I enjoyed myself. And that was, I think that was the heart of this movie, is just a fun movie that you can enjoy yourself watching, and that's exactly what I got. And in that regard, I have to say I was impressed. I was not let down. In that regard, I enjoyed it a lot. Now, this thing has a lot of flaws on the story side of things. It feels very basic a lot of the time compared to other like crime type stories. There are a lot of setups that happen throughout this film that don't have any payoffs in the future. Like it's more of just for a gag than anything, but also in regards to the story, it just feels very random and out of place, and it doesn't really go anywhere. There's that, and it also goes by really quickly. It's only about 80 minutes if you shave off the credits, which is a really short movie. But I'm glad they didn't waste a lot of time with this film. It's just short, sweet, to the point, gets right into the action of it, and it's a fun time. So I can't say that I hated it, because I really enjoyed myself watching it, but from a like technical storytelling standpoint, it definitely could have been better, but wasn't really expecting a whole lot out of that, so I'm not complaining. I'm going to give The Lovebirds a double tap. The next film that we need to talk about is Spike Lee's Da 5 Bloods, which is his follow-up to BlacKkKlansman, which won him his first Oscar. And this one, I didn't even know this was coming out until it came out, and I saw that people were watching it, and they were talking about Spike Lee's next movie, and I was like, yeah, I need to watch this. And I'm a huge fan of Spike Lee. I love Do the Right Thing. I love BlacKkKlansman. But is this film any good? Yeah, it's pretty good. I think the biggest strong suit of this movie is it really showcases a lot of Spike Lee's talents, especially as a filmmaker and as a storyteller, because there's so many different things that Spike Lee is balancing with this film in particular. It's a horrifying war movie. It is a really relevant social commentary. It is a powerful drama, and it's a really entertaining film. And he balances that really well. And you see that with every film. You see that with Do the Right Thing, not as much the war elements, obviously, but there are things in that film that happen that are horrifying and that are really hard to watch. But he balances all those other things perfectly. The drama, the entertainment aspect of it, the social commentary. And the same thing with Black Klansman. He's really, really good at balancing these different things and telling a story and keeping his audience engaged. And Da 5 Bloods is no different. This is a really powerful film, and it's very ambitious, especially on the technical side of things, considering the different aspect ratios that he uses to tell the difference in time and location. It's really ambitious, and really the only time that I'd seen these different aspect ratios used in the way that he uses them is in Grand Budapest Hotel, which is used really well. I think he uses it really well here. It's different, it's a different experience, but it is definitely to the benefit of this film. And Delroy Lindo, who plays Paul in this film, he is absolutely outstanding. He is on his way to an Oscar nomination, probably a win at this point. I don't even know what else is coming out in Oscar season, but this is going to be a heavy hitter. This is going to be one that is going to be tough to beat. It already has the buzz. All it has to do is get through Oscar season, and it will be great. And I don't think this film is perfect by any means. I think the first half kind of drags a little bit. It just takes a while for certain things to happen. But once things happen, it really gets kicking, especially in that second half. It's very focused, but the first half, it kind of feels like a couple different things at once, and it was a little bit harder to be as invested as that second half, because that second half is brilliant. It is a magnificent film, but the first half could have been a little better. I still think it's great, but it could have been better is all I'm saying. At the end of the day, Da 5 Bloods is a fantastic film. Definitely worth your while. If you have 2.5 hours and maybe another half hour to really reflect on it, definitely check out Da 5 Bloods on Netflix. I'm going to give Da 5 Bloods a spot on the podium. The next film that we need to talk about is Bad Education. This is an HBO original. This is an interesting film because it premiered at film festivals, and then it had a TV premiere on HBO, and now it's on all the HBO streaming services. And so it's a bit of a weird balance of like what to consider this thing. But Bad Education, was it any good? Yeah, it was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but I think it is definitely a good film. But I think the biggest issue with it is that it was really hard for me to connect with it. I didn't really connect with it as well. I think there are certain elements, especially technically, that I think are really well done. But as a story, I just didn't quite connect to it as much. I wasn't as invested. I was engaged the whole time. I was paying attention, but it just wasn't quite for me. I couldn't quite get to the level that I loved the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I liked it, but I can't say that I loved it. Now, some of the best parts about this movie, like I said, are those technical aspects. I think the cinematography is really beautiful here. There's this like blue kind of undertone throughout the film that is kind of just there in every shot, and it invokes this little feeling in you that, like, it's kind of hard to explain, but there's just that blue there that it doesn't stick out, but you notice it, and it works to the benefit of the film, and it works to the vibe and the tone that they're trying to pull off in this film. And so that really worked. The performances, I think, are great. I think Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney give fantastic performances here. Allison Janney could have been in it a little more, but I still think they give great performances. And I think the story is interesting. Obviously, with it based on a true story, you don't want to change a whole lot of elements about the story, but I think the story was interesting. It was a little bit unfocused a lot of the time. It took a while for the actual conflict to start, and I would have liked to see that start a little bit sooner. But I think they do a good job overall. I think it's a good movie, but like I said, I just couldn't quite connect to it, and so I couldn't get to the level of where I loved it, but I did enjoy it. I'm going to give Bad Education a double tap. The final film we need to talk about is Hamilton. This is the version that they put out on Disney Plus the other day, and I don't know if I've ever said this on the channel, but I am a huge theater fan. I used to act on stage. I directed a stage show once. I've been to many professional Broadway musicals. I am a huge fan of Broadway, and I'm a huge fan of Hamilton. I actually got to see the show about a year ago, maybe a little bit more. It was a tremendous experience, and with these types of things, like professional recordings of Broadway shows, it's really hard to judge these as films, as cinematic experiences, because obviously this is a stage production. This is meant to be seen live and to be taken in live. And thankfully I had the experience of getting to see this live. And as a film, there are things that it provides that you wouldn't get with the stage show, especially with camera work and perspective. And it provides this really cool experience that you wouldn't get if you saw it live. Like, I had a balcony seat. There are things that the camera provides that really enhance the experience, like the nuances of the performance. You can see a lot of like the smaller elements of their performance that you just can't see from like a balcony seat. And also perspective is a similar one too. There are great overhead shots. There are great like wide shots. There are great close-up shots with things moving in the background that help give that vibe that they're going for. But also, when you film something that's meant to be taken in live, you miss a lot of the things that are meant to be taken in that live performance. And so there's a trade-off that happens with this experience. Obviously, I love Hamilton. It is such a great show, and as a film version, I think they did the best that they could with camera movements and invoking really cool perspectives. And I was like, whoa, that's a cool shot. That's a cool way to put perspective in this moment in the show. But obviously you lose some of the elements of it being a live show, and so it's a difficult thing to judge cinematically because it is a stage production. So I'm just going to leave that there. I know that's really vague, but I do love Hamilton. I do love this production of it. I don't even know, man. This is just a hard thing to judge as a cinematic experience. I'm going to give Hamilton a gold star. I hope that makes sense. I mean, it's just so hard to judge it cinematically when it's not meant for cinema, but they also they film it in a way to try and make it cinematic. It's a really interesting experience. I would highly recommend you check it out if you have 2 hours and 40 minutes of spare time. It is a long show, but I think it's worth your time. I think the music, the acting, the technical aspects of the show are brilliant, and I think the camera captures it in a really neat and interesting way. So definitely check it out. Alrighty, that's going to do it for this episode of Playing Ketchup. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll be the first one to know when I upload a new video. And also comment down below what you've been watching over the past couple of months. Whether it's something old, something new, something on a streaming service, something on Blu-ray. Let me know what you've been watching. Let me know what you've been into. I'd love to see what you guys have been watching. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.